They say the line between peace and war is thinner than the horizon, and today we may have just seen it snapped. Imagine warships bearing down, radio warnings ignored, and then the deafening sound of live fire. That's exactly what happened in the South China Sea, and whatever comes next could reshape the balance of power in Asia. On August 13, 2025, the Chinese military claimed it had monitored and drove away the U.S. destroyer USS Higgins as it operated near Scarborough Shoal. China's Southern Theater Command said the ship entered what it calls Huangyan Island waters without permission. The U.S. Navy, however, flatly denied the claim, calling China's account false. The Higgins was conducting a freedom of navigation operation, a mission intended to assert that no nation can unilaterally restrict passage in international waters. China's aggressive posture in response marks an escalation even by regional standards. Now, this incident is not happening in a vacuum. In the days prior, China's Coast Guard fired water cannons at more than 10 Philippine vessels near Scarborough Shoal on September 16, 2025. The Chinese side accused those Filipino ships of illegal intrusion and said one vessel rammed a Chinese cutter. Beijing described its response as lawful control measures, including route restrictions, verbal warnings, and water cannon spraying. The Philippines pushed back, calling China's narrative disinformation and propaganda. One person was injured when a water cannon shattered a window on board. These confrontations over the shoal have been recurring, but until now have not escalated into outright gunfire. To understand why this matters, you need to know what Scarborough Shoal is and why it's so strategic. Located about 150 miles west of Luzon in the Philippines, Scarborough lies well inside Manila's exclusive economic zone. But China also claims it as part of its maritime territory. The shoal is a prime fishing area and sits near critical sea lanes. In 2016, a tribunal at The Hague ruled that China's claims in the South China Sea have no legal basis, but Beijing rejects that ruling outright and continues to militarize reefs and islands across the region. The collision between Chinese vessels on August 11, 2025, further stoked tensions. During a high-speed chase near Scarborough, a Chinese Coast Guard cutter and a Chinese Navy destroyer collided while pursuing a Philippine ship. According to multiple reports, the smaller cutter, hull number 3104, was left heavily damaged and effectively unseaworthy. That accident revealed just how dangerous this escalating behavior has become, even within China's own fleet. Meanwhile, the Philippines said its ship, BRP Suluan, had narrowly avoided being squeezed between the two collision-bound Chinese ships. That episode preceded the confrontation involving USS Higgins. So the story fits a pattern. First water cannons and coercive maneuvers, then collisions and risky confrontations, and now live fire claims. What we haven't seen confirmed is the level of damage, loss of life, or whether U.S. or allied ships returned fire. No credible public source today verifies that 10 U.S. and allied warships were actually fired upon. If that were true, we'd expect multiple governments to present proof, hull damage, missile intercepts, or official damage reports. For now, what we do see is China pushing harder than ever, testing whether Washington or its partners will back down. Why does this matter far beyond the South China Sea? First, the risk of miscalculation is huge. A single errant missile or splash detonation near a ship could trigger retaliation or broad escalation. Second, it challenges the legal and economic order of the Indo-Pacific. If China succeeds in enforcing control, the free movement of goods, over $3 trillion of trade annually passes through these waters, could be put into question. Third, it underscores how China uses gray zone tactics, coercion just short of war, to gain advantage incrementally. Water cannons, maritime militia, blocking maneuvers, then limited gunfire. This incident also signals how U.S. alliances and presence will be tested. Nations like the Philippines, Japan, and Australia will have to choose whether to step closer or step back. If the U.S. fails to protect its ships or stand up for trading partners, China may interpret that as weakness. This could invite more confrontations elsewhere in the South China Sea or even beyond. In closing, we're likely witnessing one of the most dangerous moments in the region in decades. China is escalating, possibly pushing boundaries it once held to restraint. The key question now, will the US and its allies respond decisively, or will this become another new normal in Asia, where force defines the rules? If you want clear, timely breakdowns of naval incidents and why they matter to the US, subscribe, hit like, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think will happen next.